How is it going, guys? And welcome back to the Pokemon Premier League. Now this is week 3, and this week we are playing Travistey, not RTK like I said last week. That stemmed from him changing his Skype name from Travistey to RTK, which completely confused me because he had the same picture as him and everything, and it really threw me for a loop. So I completely messed up there, but yeah. This week we're playing Travistey in the North Melbourne Kanghaskans, and it's not a matchup I've been looking forward to, because he has things on his team that completely steamroller me. He has a lot of higher tier threats that can do a lot of damage to my team, so yeah, I'm going to give you a quick oversight of my team. My team was Mega Sableye, specially defensive, 252 HP, 252 defense, with a sassy nature, so it's physically defensive with a specially defense increasing nature to take hits on both physical and special side, with knockoff, recover, metal burst and toxic, 0 IVs and speed just to make sure nothing's underspeeding me. And yeah, the reason I have that is simply because Mega Sableye is a wall, and it takes hits and toxics things and knocks off things and metal bursts things and recovers and just is genuinely annoying. Toxic over Will-O-Wisp on this because he has a Mega Ordino and I need to break that thing rather than burn it and just, you know, make it able to take hits. Now for this I've gone for specially offensive Choice Scarf Curum here, with 252 special attack, 196 speed, 36 HP, 20 defense, 4 special defense, with Ice Beam, Earth Power, Draco Meteor, Flash Cannon, with a timid nature. And this thing is just basically meant to outspeed things and do things and stuff and just do damage. Like, it can completely sweep his team if I can get it in at the right time. It outspeeds everything on his team, barring Scarfers, and that's always a good thing to have around. Now, I went with Marowak again for this match. Adamant Nature, 252 HP, 252 attack, 4 defense. Fire Punch, Bone Meringue, Knockoff, and Swords Dance. Now, Swords Dance is there because I can set up on Mega Ordino if it's not carrying Knockoff. I can set up on, what else does Trav have? I can set up on the Thunderous if it's not packing Hidden Power Ice, which I know a lot of them do, but I thought maybe he would have possibly been packing Hidden Power Fire for my Excadrill. I can set up on quite a lot of things. Grass Knot doesn't really hurt it because it's not that heavy. And basically if I can get a Swords Dance up, I can live a hit, and if I have a Tailwind up from one of my other mons, I can do a lot of damage. Now, I've gone next with Victini with a Quiet Nature, 252 attack, 4 defense, 252 special attack, with 0 IVs and speed, with Trick Room, U-Turn, Thunder, and Toxic. Now, I went for Trick Room on this thing because, well, it wasn't U-Turn, sorry, it was V-Create instead of U-Turn. So it's Trick Room, V-Create, Thunder, and Toxic. Now, this thing literally just eats his team alive. Just completely eats it. Now, Thunder was there for the other half of his team that he didn't bring, so that wasn't as helpful as I thought it would have been. But V-Create just puts a dent in everything. It just completely massacres things. Toxic is there because Tyranitar doesn't appreciate it, Ordino doesn't appreciate it, and everything else dies to a V-Create or gets hurt by a V-Create. And another member, the next member was Suicune with 252 HP, 252 defense, and 4 special defense, bold nature with Tailwind, Scald, Ice Beam, and Toxic. Now, Tailwind simply was there in case I wanted to get some extra speed for Victini, in case I didn't want a Trick Room, in case I wanted to give Scavalier a bit more speed, and yeah, Marowak as well appreciates a Tailwind, but Scald and Ice Beam, quite simple really. Toxic's just there because nothing appreciates a Toxic. And the final member of my team was a Scavalier with Choice Band, 252 HP, 4 special defense, 252 attack with Adamant Nature, Mega Horn, Knockoff, Iron Head, and Facade. Now, I probably should have brought Pursuit over Facade, but I decided not to because he had a couple of things on there that could status or Thunderwave me or possibly burn me and give me some kind of silly status, so I thought Facade would be an interesting choice in case somehow I do get burned by like a rogue Scold or something from one of his members, but because Emboar does get Scalded if somehow, I don't know why that would ever come up, but that's why I'm thinking Pursuit would have been more effective because he has a Latios and I can take every hit barring a Hidden Power Fire from a Latios. so that would have been more useful. Yeah. But the team he brought was Tyranitar, Excadrill, Thundurus, Latios, Emboar, and Mega Ordino. So let's get into this match and see how we did in this week. Travistey is sending a challenge, and he leads off with his Mega Ordino as I lead off with my Marowak. Now, this was the silliest part of the battle for me. Absolutely silly as hell. And the reason for that is because he goes for the Mega Evolution straight away, showing me he is faster, because I've gone minus speed nature. Well, not minus speed, but he goes for a knockoff on a Marowak as I go for a Swords Dance. So I'm exactly where I just was. So this Marowak is still a threat, but it does mean I have to keep it in. And he goes for a Dazzling Gleam here to see how much damage it will do. It barely does anything. I go for a knockoff, thinking he'll possibly switch out, predicting an Earthquake. And then it comes down to whether or not I want to risk going for a knockoff again and him going for a Dazzling Gleam. Now, I decided not to risk it because it was early on in the game. I had to play it a bit more safe. And I go straight for a Boomerang, and he switches in the Latios. And I'm like, God damn it. So I just think, you know what, Marowak is completely useless now. It's got no Thick Club. It is at +2, but that I had to keep it in, and he goes straight for the Draco. And he gets the special attack drop, but as you'll see in a minute, while Sands goes down, he has a White Herb, which completely threw me because now I have to switch into something that can take a hit from it. And the only thing I have is Mega Sableye, but it is quite a good thing that Marowak went down there, because now I can get the free Mega up as he switches back into his Mega Ordino, knowing that he has that. Well, I know that he has Dazzling Gleam now, but I know now that he cannot get a status off on me, a status, whatever you want to call it. He can't get one up, so I'm free to stay in and do shenanigans with Mega Sableye. I go straight for the Toxic on the switch because I didn't want to try knocking off in case he did switch in this thing, which he did. So I predicted him to switch in, and he goes. I went for the Toxic. Now this was an interesting turn. I had a feeling he was going to think that I was going to switch out rearing a Dazzling Gleam. So he goes into the Emboar, and I go for another Toxic. So I predicted that beautifully. So I had to make some really risky plays early on here. I'm a Mon down already. I have to make some kind of clutch tilt plays. And I managed to get a burn, well, a Toxic off on this Emboar. Now he goes into Bon Scott, which was his Thundurus. As I think here I just go for a Metal Burst, thinking he's going to try and hit me with something. And he goes for a Bulk Up here. Now, I was so scared once I saw this Bulk Up. I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. And I go for a Knockoff, which does pretty much nothing, because he's got a Bulk Up. It does, well, about a quarter, but he goes for another Bulk Up, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? I didn't know what the hell this thing was. It was a Bulk Upping Thundurus. It's not something you normally see, because it has like no physical move pool, but it would have done so much damage to me. This thing would have done so much damage to my Mega Sableye. And I'm telling you now, I do take this thing out here because I switch into Kyurem and he goes for another Bulk Up. And because I've just said my Kyurem is Scarfed, I outspeed him and he goes for another Bulk Up here. So I can outspeed him. He has Prankster. I didn't know what the hell he was going to do. I had no idea what he was going to do with this thing. So I go straight for, as you can tell, I'm going to outspeed and go for an Ice Beam because he's got a +3 Thundurus. He thinks, if he's not Scarfed, I can possibly rest or Bulk Up or something. And I take it out with an Ice Beam, so I've leveled the playing field, but that thing was scary. The moment I saw a Bulk Up Thundurus, I was like, what the frig? What the frig? But he goes into this Excadrill here, and I go into my physically defensive Suicune, which was built to deal with Excadrills, because I can take Life Orb hits fairly well, I can take Banded hits fairly well, and I have leftovers. But he goes straight for his Stealth Rocks, which, I mean, he was going to get them up anyway, and there was nothing I could have really done to that thing with Kyurem. I mean, I could have gone for an Ice Beam or something, but that just, I didn't want to risk him going for an Iron Head and taking me out. Now, he puts up a Substitute, and I go for an Ice Beam, and it does take out the sub. I did the calc, and to his Excadrill, it had like a 50% chance to break the sub. So I got very lucky there, because he would have had a sub up and got a free Earthquake off if I'd have got a low roll. Unfortunately, I took the sub out for him, and that gives me a free chance to just know, right, I can go for Scald now. So I hit the Mega Ordino with a Scald. It does a fair chunk, to be fair, but it was a crit. But I get a crit, which does a decent amount of damage, and he gets the Toxic damage. And this Mega Ordino is slowly getting whittled down. I decided to pull a switch out here into WD Gaster, thinking I can take Dazzling Gleams because I'm sassy. That gives me a little bit of extra specialty defense. And he goes for a Wish. Now, the only reason I went into Gaster there was in case he tried to Toxic me as well, because I didn't want any kind of status on my Suicune, because it needed to be as high health as possible, and Gaster can switch in here and take Dazzling Gleams fairly well. I mean, it does just about half. Just about under half. I did the calcs, and it was really risky whether this thing could actually take another Dazzling Gleam or not. I'm pretty certain it could. I was pretty certain it could take another one. I was not sure, but I was pretty certain. That's the only thing I could say. So I had a feeling he was going to think it was going to kill me, and I decided to stay in and go for Recover. So I'm playing it very risky here. I don't know if another Dazzling Gleam would have killed me there, but judging from... he goes for a knockoff here, I think they're predicting me to switch out, which was pretty funny. As I go for a knockoff here, predicting him to switch out, which was pretty funny. So he gets the wish health back, and I'm at about 140. It's about where I was before. So he's going to take more poison damage, and he's going to go for another Dazzling Gleam here. So see, that leaves me at 74. That makes me think that it's going to do somewhere between 64 and 72, because that's Pokemon calcs. I had no idea if it would have killed me or not. I had no idea. But he goes for another Dazzling Gleam, and I'm really unsure if this is going to kill. It leaves me on 2 HP, and I get a Recover off. So I've managed to take out the Ordino with my Sableye, which is a very big plus on my side, because I really, really wanted that Ordino gone. And Sableye's still at a salvageable amount of health. I can still take possibly one hit from an Excadrill, possibly. But he goes into the Latios, and now I just know that there's nothing I can do. This thing's going to Draco something. So I go straight into Excadrill. And this thing goes for a Draco and misses. That is very lucky for me, because if he had hit the Draco, he would have been able to go for a Hidden Power Fire afterwards, and it probably would have killed. But I don't know, it was a roll after Stealth Rock damage for a Hidden Power Fire to kill a Escavalier anyway. Now I go straight for a Mega Horn there. And you see, if I had Pursuit there, I could have trapped that Latios and killed it, because Excadrill here is not that much of a problem for me. I have things that can deal with it. But now this means that if I either have to switch into Suicune or stay in and kill the Excadrill. I decided to kill the Excadrill because I just thought it would be a better play at the time, because getting that thing away meant that Suicune could have a bit more HP. I couldn't really switch in Sableye, and this freaking Latios comes back in and Hidden Power fires me, and Zanmato goes down. Which is a bit of a shame, but it got a kill. It killed an Excadrill, so I can't see anything. I decided to go into Kyurem here because I can outspeed and threaten him out. So he hit this point, bringing a Kyurem in against the Latios proves that it's Scarf. So he's going to switch out and go into POD, which is Tyranitar, I think. Yeah, so it's Tyranitar, which is going to get the Sandstream up, and it's going to raise his special defense. So I just went straight for a Draco. I didn't want to mess around. I wanted to see how much damage I could get off on anything. And the Draco does about 45% if I remember. Yeah, about 40 to 45. And that's a decent amount of damage, but I'm taking Sandstorm damage as well. And there's not a lot that I can do from this point. I'm at -2, so I switch out and go into Suicune. And I think he predicts this at this point. I think he does and goes for a Thunder Punch. Yeah, he goes for a Thunder Punch, predicting that. And to be honest, the Stone Edge does the exact same amount as a Thunder Punch, so I don't know if that was bad prep on his part. Or not. I genuinely don't know what to think of that, because Thunder Punch is a 75 base power move, Stone Edge is a 100 base power stab move, which does the same amount. So going for a Stone Edge there would have done the exact same amount. I get the Tailwind up here because he goes for another Thunder Punch, and at this point, he told me that this was the point that he thought that this battle was over. He thought that this battle was over at this point. Spoilers, it's not. There's a lot more interesting stuff that happens after this, but he switches out his Tyranitar, fearing Scald, fearing he had to try and whittle out Tailwind turns, and I go for a Scald, which hits the Latios and gets the burn. I think, yeah, it gets the burn, which was brilliant. Scald actually getting a burn with the second time it's used. And I get the Sandstorm damage, but my leftovers is keeping me alive on 28 HP. So he gets leftovers, and at this point, I know he needs to stall out my Tailwind, and I know that this Latios is not going to want to take an Ice Beam. So I go for an Ice Beam again, and he lives on about 25 HP, and goes for a Hidden Power Fire, and it doesn't take out Glamour, because he's trying to stall out Tailwind turns. So this gives Suicune the chance to get some more health back with leftovers, and he's going to take more burn damage. Essentially, this Latios is dead soon. I have one more turn of Tailwind left. He withdraws the Latios, and I go for a Scold on the switch, nailing the Tyranitar in the face with a Scold, which does about... I'm just going to wait because, yeah. I'll go for the Scold here. Hits the Tyranitar straight in the Gabba. Well, the chest actually, but it hits the Tyranitar and gets the burn. So that's 3 Scolds used, 2 burns gotten. And this Tyranitar is not hurting anyone anymore. That thing is not going to be a problem. So, yeah. Unfortunately, my Tailwind does run out around here. Yeah, right there. My Tailwind's gone. So, he goes for a Thunder Punch just to take out Suicune, just to be sure that I can't get another one up. Even though I did go for another one there. But I just thought, you know what, it's fine. The Tyranitar's gone. I can outspeed everything left on the team with my with my Kyurem. And... yeah, but I was very worried he would go into the Emboar, so I decided to try and play it safe here, go into Victini, and go for the Trick Room here, in case he wanted to kill me with a Draco, but he reveals the Tailwind. So, at this point, it's fine. It's fine, because I can go for Trick Room, but I misclicked. I misclicked and hit Thunder in the sand. Who hits a Thunder? Who goes for Thunder in the sand? I completely misclicked, and completely missed Trick Room because they were right next to each other on my friggin' screen, and I'm in a very bad position because he's just got a Tailwind up and his last mon is an Emboar. And Emboar is a monster. So he goes for Head Smash on my Victini, completely destroying Victini's life there. There was no way in hell I was ever living that. But he gets a lot of recoil here. So, right, what happens here? Alright, he has his Emboar out. I have 2 mons left. My Kyurem and my Mega Sableye. I think, right, he's gonna have to Head Smash again, because, or at least have some kind of like Flare Blitz or something. He's not gonna risk a Head Smash miss, so I can go into Kyurem. He's gonna get recoil damage, but he reveals the low kick, and that was the biggest mistake I made in the entire game. If I switch into Mega Sableye there, I possibly win, because he gets more toxic damage, he has to take another turn out to kill my Mega Sableye, and he just dies. But I bring in Gaster afterwards. He goes straight for a Flare Blitz, which is just going to decimate my life. And that's the match. But if I'd have pulled the double and gone straight into Gaster as he went for the low kick, I think I win the match. But that's the game. That's it. Oh, I have so much to say about this match. So many plays that were wrong. So many plays that messed up. It was such a frustrating match at the end of that, because we both played so well. We both played brilliantly. But one misclick at the end threw me off and meant that I was completely screwed. At the end, I just tried to settle there for trying to get recoil damage on the Emboar, because I knew it had Head Smash, I knew it would have Flare Blitz. But the thing had low kick and hit my Kyurem, which meant it didn't have to take recoil. It was the strongest thing to hit my Regirock and my Kyurem. So it was very smart prep from him. Caught me off guard with the Tailwind, caught me off guard with the low kick, and that's it. That's the game. That's it, and we're now 2-1. I can't complain about the match too much, because I may have misclicked at the end there, but it was still salvageable, and it was my plays at the end there that completely messed me up. It was that play of going into Kyurem, going into Victini instead of going into Kyurem to threaten out the Latios, because I knew I could have done at least some kind of damage to the Emboar with Kyurem. Kyurem was the smart play there. I made the silly play there and went into Victini. I was very, very silly there. I should have gone into Kyurem instead of Victini. I then should have Trick Roomed but missed. I then should have switched into Mega Sableye. So 3 times in a row, I've made the wrong move and self-destructed that game away. And that's what's killed me. That's what's thrown that match away. And that's what's made us 1 and 2 and put us in 7th place in the Pokemon Premier League. Which is not a place we want to be, guys. We don't want to be down there. We want to be higher. We want to be higher than that. So, yeah, I'm looking at the sheet now. And in the league table, at first we have Newcastle United. Second we have Bayern Munich. Third we have Norwich City, surprisingly. I'd say surprisingly. Jack's a great battler, and that's who we're playing next week. Fourth we have our opponents, North Melbourne, Kanghaskans. 5th, Pittsburgh Pyro. 6th, Paris Saint-Germain. 7th, us. So we have 5 people below us, but we're on the same points as 3 of those and 4 of those. So if we lose again next week, and a couple of those win, we are in a bad position, guys. A really bad position. But yeah, next week we're playing Norwich City. At the time of recording this, I'm actually supposed to be playing him today. So you can keep your eyes peeled for an upload within the next few days. So that's it from me. I've been Wanty Bonaire, and I have no idea of how to end this video off, so I'm going to end it off by saying I love you all, and you can see me in the next video of whatever I make. See you later, guys.